Hi, it's King Tate here, and today I'm going to be explaining my top 10 coasters as of 2017. 2018. So yeah, number 10 is El Loco at the Circus Circus Adventure Dome in Las Vegas, and I actually just had fun on this ride. There wasn't anything too special about it except some really good laterals and hang time. Like right here, that was some awesome hang time. I felt like I was gonna fall out of the seat. Alright, there's some pretty good laterals right about here. Yeah, you're just hanging there almost. And then, yeah, it's a pretty short ride, but that's the best hang time. One of the best hang time moments on any coaster. So, yeah, number 9 is Prowler. So many of you may be wondering, how did a wooden coaster beat a steel coaster? Well, here's why. This ride actually has some really good airtime, and you feel like flying out of your seat the entire time. And some really better forces on this ride than El Loco and some of the other coasters on this list. So, yeah, and it's a really long ride, which is nice, better than El Loco, and you don't really feel the roughness of a wooden coaster on this ride. It's definitely one of the smoother ones. Alright, so point of view should be, no, it keeps going. Yeah, see, nice long ride. So, number 8 is the Rip Ride Rocket at Universal Orlando. And, yeah, this ride, it pleasantly surprised me. For a Universal park, this was actually a really fun ride. It's kind of the same as El Loco, not so much airtime but more about the hang time. And this thing did have like a million mid-course brake runs, but other than that, it was a pretty fun ride. You don't feel a rattle too much. I mean, there is some, which I like. So as of right now, Prowler is ahead, but as of the time that I made this video, I like this a little bit better, and I got, I think, 4 rides on it. There's the Rip Ride Rocket. Yeah, it's spelled that way. I don't know why it's spelled that way. It's really funny. But, yeah. But as of right now, Prowler is higher on my list. But I got about 4 rides on this thing, and I could have gone with more. It's overall a pretty good coaster. Yeah, this one's a pretty good long ride, too. So, yeah, a lot of these are long rides, which is another reason they made the list. I think there were 2 or 3 that could have made the list, but they were just too short. And that's that one. Yeah, the number 7 is California Screamin'. It's no longer in my top 10 because I got to visit Magic Mountain. But this does everything Rip Ride Rocket does, but better. So you've got some decent forces and it's not the most forceful ride. And you've got some airtime, which is better. And you've got this lift. It is taller. No, it's not. It's not taller. Forget I said it's taller, but it feels just a lot faster, and it's definitely smoother. And it has both of those rides, including Rip Ride Rocket, you could pick your own audio, which I think may have been the only reason that it actually made this list. There was one that I was really considering putting on here instead of it. But yeah, there's 1 inversion on this one versus the 0 inversions on the other one. And yeah, this is the point of the ride where it's actually better, I think. And you just start to get a whole lot more forces on this part of the ride. The vertical loop was okay, not the best. I've definitely been on better vertical loops, like Kumba, if you've seen the actual video of this. But yeah, this is the longest ride, I think, on this list. Even over Cheetah Hunt, which you'll see in a little bit. Yeah, the number 1 park at the time I was making this was Busch Gardens, Tampa. And, yep, the number 6 is Patriot. So this is the first B&M on the list, but not the last. Because I already said Kumba was on this list, at least. But this one is the first, I would say, extreme coaster. For many of you, this might be like the most extreme coaster you'll ever go on. But this is the second ride from Worlds of Fun, the first one being Prowler. So Worlds of Fun was overall a really fun park, and I got to go with some of my best friends that I never get to see. So, and this is in Kansas City, so it's a long ways away. Not as far as Busch Gardens, Tampa, though. And this one ride had 4 inversions, and at the time that I rode this, it was the most inversions I had ever been on. And making on number 5 is the first ride from Busch Gardens. Now, the Jeep, you guys who have been here before are probably like, how is one of the better rides at the park at number 5 on my list? Well, here's the reason. It does hang you there, which is actually probably my favorite thing about the entire park, the hang time on SheiKra. But after the drop, it didn't have a whole lot to offer. There was almost zero force after this point. Yeah, right about now, it was pretty forceless. And then the drops were good, but there was no airtime, unlike two of the other coasters that you're gonna see on this list. And the splashdown was fun, but like it just didn't add up somehow. This ride, it's better than all the others that I've said good things about. This is like buttery smooth, no roughness, but it just feels too slow almost. It's a big coaster, but it just feels too slow. Now, number 4 on the list, Cheetah Hunt. Now, this thing actually feels like it's a whole lot faster than SheiKra. More forces, definitely some airtime, which is good. Even though it's an over-the-shoulder harness, yeah, right there. Right at the top of that hill, you get a little bit of airtime. Not the most in the park, but for sure, a lot of airtime. Now you get some good air going down that hill. The straight part in the trench is a little bit weird, but this hill you get some good air. Not as good as Prowler though, and one of the other coasters that I've ridden recently. You guys who have probably been to Magic Mountain, you guys know which one I'm talking about already. The one that beats all this, but I'm not gonna let that go. Or if you've seen the Magic Mountain video, best coasters at Magic Mountain, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, yeah. But that part, even though in this video, for some reason, in one of the POV videos, POV stands for point of view, by the way, there's not water where there was water when I was there. So, gliding when I could almost touch the water, that's how close it glides down. I wonder if somebody's actually touched the water. But that Cheetah Hunt is a nice long ride like Prowler. Alright, number 3, Kumba. Now, some of you people who might be at Busch Gardens, or had this is their home park, this might come as a surprise. Some people might find it a little bit rattly, which, yes, it was a little bit rattly, but it made up in force. This is the most forceful ride on this list, and the most intense. So, Cheetah Hunt was all about speed, this one's all about inversions. I rode this before Montu at the park, so this was the most inversions I'd ever been on, 7. Those corkscrews were actually really forceful, almost as forceful as that vertical loop. And then at the end, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It starts just doing some random stuff like turning, more turning, and yeah, then the brake run. But this was actually a really fun ride. I got to ride that, I think, 3 times when I visited. So, Montu, I only got to ride this twice when I went, but it was almost too much. Like, this is intense. Not quite as intense as Kumba, but almost. And it's an invert, just like Patriot. And this thing also has 7 inversions, which is why I said Kumba had 7 and this has 7. This Batwing loop, or Batwing, whatever you want to call it, that thing is insane. You fly into this trench and then you don't know what's coming next. It's incredible. I rode this, I think, both times in the front row. We went on a dead day, so I just cut, and all the rides except for Cobra's Curse and Cheetah Hunt were walk-ons. So, if you think that rides at Disney with a 25-minute wait are good waits, no, this ride, it's insane. I only had to wait like 1 minute for the train to come. And yeah, it's pretty good capacity too, like Kumba. 4 rows or 2 seats to a row. So what could be number 1? I know a lot of the enthusiasts who might be watching, they're like, how? But Mamba takes the number 1 spot. Now, I rode this with those friends that I told you about. This is the number 1 coaster out of the 3 I got to ride at Worlds of Fun. You saw that wooden coaster in the corner? Yeah, right there. That I didn't get to ride that. That was closed when I went, sadly. But that airtime over that first hill is actually really good. Surprisingly. Not quite as good as the one at Magic Mountain that you'd probably know I'm talking about, but it's still really good. This helix doesn't quite make sense. You're just turning and turning forever. But, you know, it adds length to the ride. Not a short ride whatsoever. Yeah. This thing, when I rode it, was the tallest coaster I'd ever been on, and I was actually kind of scared. Going over that hill, that airtime hill, somehow going over that airtime hill was more scary than the actual drop. So, yeah. And the airtime over these hills, they were actually really good. Yes, it's a parking lot coaster, I can see that. Like Scream at Six Flags Magic Mountain, but not quite as bad. And then ride's over. But at the time, this was the most airtime I had ever been on a coaster. So, thanks for watching. Here are this was my 50th video. So, yeah, I got those from Coaster Force and James C. Let me just pause. So, yeah, Mamba, you probably recognized from the intro that I'm going to put on this video. So, yeah, Mamba at the time was my favorite coaster. Although, right now in my top 10, Montu and Kumba are ahead of it. But, my opinions change all the time, and I will see you in the next video. Feel free to comment down below what your top 10 or top 5, however many coasters you've ridden, and I will read every single one of them. And I will go to your channel, and if you want to make a video, I will watch it. So I will see you in the next video.